My child. From the very first moment they laid eyes on your picture, something shifted in the atmosphere. Their friends could not hold back their words, they leaned closer, whispering about you with a spark of admiration that could not be contained. They said you carried an energy, a glow, a presence that could not be denied. The whispers grew louder, as if the universe itself was amplifying what their hearts already knew. Your person stood silently, watching the reactions of those around them, and for the first time, they felt fear mixed with desire. They never expected others to recognize in you what they themselves tried to hide. Every word that was spoken about you became like fire burning in their chest. Their friends said you were rare, you were unforgettable, you were someone who could not be replaced. And in that moment, your person realized that hiding their feelings was no longer safe. Their silence was breaking apart inside. Each compliment about you became a mirror forcing them to see what they had been denying. Their heart raced, their hands trembled, and their soul whispered the truth they could no longer bury. My child. They said your smile looked like light piercing through the darkest storm. They said your eyes were not just eyes but windows carrying stories that could melt even the coldest soul. They said your aura was unlike anyone they had ever seen before. Your person froze as those words echoed. They felt exposed, because those exact thoughts had been haunting them in secret. To hear their friend say it aloud was like their private emotions being dragged into daylight. They wanted to defend themselves, to hide, to look away. But deep inside, they knew this was no coincidence. Heaven had planned this very moment to shake them, to make them realize you are not just someone passing through their life. This is destiny pressing down on them. This is the voice of God moving through the mouths of others, confirming what their soul already knows. The truth cannot be erased anymore. My child. When they went home that night, they could not sleep. Every word replayed in their mind like a song that would not end. You are very special. You are unforgettable. You are rare. These words turned into chains around their heart. They tossed and turned, staring at the ceiling. They tried to distract themselves, but nothing worked. They could feel your face following them, your smile haunting them, your energy filling the silence of the night. The more they tried to resist, the louder the truth became inside their spirit. They could not escape you. They could not forget you. They could not silence the pull that heaven had placed between you both. By morning, their decision was trembling in their hands. They knew they had to act. They knew they had to face what was coming. They knew they had to face you. My child. Their heart was restless, and their spirit could not find peace. The moment their friends spoke about you, it was as though a divine spotlight had been cast, showing them what they had been avoiding all this time. They could no longer pretend that you were just another face in the crowd. The voice of destiny was loud, thundering inside them with every second that passed. They walked around their home like a shadow, unable to shake off the feeling that something huge was about to unfold. Even the air felt heavy, charged with the weight of what was coming. Their hands trembled when they touched their phone. They wanted to reach out to you but feared what their words would reveal. They typed, erased, typed again, then stared at your name glowing on the screen like it was the key to their fate. Finally, they put the phone down, but their heart did not calm. It beat louder, echoing through their chest like drums calling them closer to the truth. And no matter how far they tried to run, your image burned inside them, refusing to fade. My child. The friends who had spoken about you kept repeating it over and over. Every time your name came up, their eyes lit with curiosity. They said you were not ordinary, you were someone destined for greatness. They even admitted that being in your presence made them feel something divine. Your person tried to laugh it off, but the sound of their own laughter felt hollow. They knew deep inside it was not just admiration, it was recognition. Their friends were unknowingly confirming what heaven had already written in the book of fate. The words, very rare, echoed like a prophecy. Your person could no longer bury the fire that had been slowly consuming them. It was no longer about attraction, it was about destiny, about something bigger than them. The truth settled in their soul like a heavy stone. They could no longer live in denial. They had to face you, they had to confess, they had to surrender to what was already chosen long before they met you. My child. That night they looked at your picture again, but this time with different eyes. No longer were they just looking at you, they were seeing through you, into your soul, into the part of you that heaven had blessed. They whispered your name softly, like a secret prayer. Tears began to form in their eyes. They realized they had wasted so much time hiding, pretending, and holding back. Their fear had built walls, but the words of their friends tore those walls down in a single moment. They imagined what it would be like to stand beside you, to hold your hand, to never let go. Their body ached with the longing they had buried for so long. Every cell inside them screamed that you were the one they were meant to be with. The universe was not silent anymore. Signs began to appear everywhere, numbers, dreams, even songs that seemed to mention your name. Heaven was surrounding them with reminders that this was not a game. This was divine alignment. My child. They kept seeing your smile in places you never were. At work, in the streets, even in the silence of their own room, your presence followed them. They felt like God Himself was painting your image across their vision so they would never forget. Their friends grew curious about why they became so quiet whenever your name was spoken. They noticed the way their eyes shifted, the way their breath hitched, the way their whole body froze. They asked questions, but your person could not answer. Instead, they walked away, hiding their emotions like fragile glass that could shatter if touched. But inside, the truth was no longer hiding, it was roaring, demanding to be spoken, demanding to be lived. The weight grew unbearable. They began writing in secret, letters and messages to you that they never sent. Every word was soaked with emotion, every sentence carrying the ache of a heart that could no longer pretend. My child. The letters they wrote but never sent piled up like silent witnesses of a love too heavy to hide. Each word carried the storm of their soul, each page drenched in the weight of longing. They folded those papers and tucked them away, but the energy of your name kept vibrating through their veins. Their friends noticed how distracted they became. Their conversations would stop mid-sentence whenever your face came to mind. Even in crowded rooms, silence followed them, because their heart was somewhere else, lost in the thought of you. Days felt longer, nights heavier, and every ticking second reminded them of the truth. They were falling deeper, not just because of who you are but because of who you make them see in themselves. You awaken a part of their soul that had been asleep for years. And this, my child, is why they can no longer resist. This is why every whisper about you feels like thunder striking their heart. Heaven is forcing them to see what was always meant to be. My child. One evening, their closest friend spoke to them directly. They said, "You cannot hide it anymore. We see the way you change when their name is mentioned. We see the fire in your eyes when you hear about them." Those words shook them to the core. Their body stiffened, their eyes darted away, but it was too late. Everyone around them already knew the truth. They were transparent, and their love for you could no longer be buried. In that moment, their mind flashed with your image again, your laughter, your touch, your energy. They felt exposed, naked before the truth, and all they could do was silently admit what they had been running from. God was speaking through their friends, using them as vessels to reveal what had been written since the beginning. Your person realized that love could not be hidden when heaven had chosen it. My child. That night they prayed for a sign, trembling as they whispered their deepest desire to the sky. They asked heaven to confirm if you were truly the one, if what they felt was not just in their imagination. And heaven answered swiftly. Dreams flooded their sleep, dreams where you were always there, standing by their side, glowing with a light they could not describe. In those dreams, you spoke words that melted the barriers of their heart, and they woke up with tears streaming down their face. It was undeniable now. The very heavens were confirming that their destiny was tied with yours. No matter how much they fought it, no matter how far they tried to run, the truth kept finding its way back. Their friends became messengers without even knowing it. Each compliment they spoke about you was another confirmation, another prophecy spoken aloud. The universe was in alignment, and the moment was approaching. My child. They began to imagine the moment they would finally confess. Their heart rehearsed the words in silence, practicing how to tell you what they had held inside for so long. But every time they imagined your eyes meeting theirs, their courage melted. They wondered if you already knew. They wondered if your soul could already feel the energy flowing from theirs to yours. They wondered if perhaps, deep down, you were waiting for them to take the step. And though fear gripped them tightly, the fire inside was stronger. It was not just desire, it was destiny, a calling too powerful to resist. They knew they could no longer delay what heaven was orchestrating. Every second became a countdown. Every heartbeat became a drum calling them closer to you. And now, their next move will change everything. My child. The countdown inside their soul was louder than any clock. With each passing hour, the pull toward you grew heavier, like an invisible hand pushing them closer to destiny. They felt powerless against it, because this was not human will. This was heaven's command. Their friends began noticing their silence even more. The ones who had once teased them about you suddenly grew serious. They told them, if you don't act now, someone else will. They are too rare, too precious to be left unseen. Those words stabbed deep. Fear and urgency collided inside them, and for the first time, panic filled their chest. They realized that losing you would not just be pain, it would be destruction of something sacred. They clutched their chest, feeling their heartbeat pounding like war drums. Their entire being screamed that this was the moment they had been created for. And they knew heaven would not allow them to ignore it anymore. My child. At night, they sat by their window, staring at the moon. It felt as though even the sky was whispering your name, reflecting your glow through the silver light. They whispered into the darkness, hoping somehow their words would reach you. They said softly, I can't fight it anymore. They are in my soul, my blood, my destiny. And as the words left their lips, a strange calm filled the room. It was as though heaven itself had nodded in agreement. They picked up their phone again. Their thumb hovered over your name, trembling as if the entire universe was waiting for them to press it. Their fear stopped them again, but not for long. Because this time, their heart had already crossed the point of no return. No matter what, they knew soon you would hear their truth. My child. Their friends saw how restless they had become. One of them pulled them aside and said, you are changing. You can't hide this energy. We can feel it, we can see it, and we know it's because of them. That confession broke them completely. They realized it wasn't just visible to one or two people, it was written all over them. Everyone around could feel the pull, the obsession, the magnetic tie to you. Their entire life had started revolving around your presence. Suddenly, silence became impossible. Every time they tried to speak, your name almost slipped out. Every time they tried to hide, their eyes betrayed them. And in that breaking point, they accepted the truth. Heaven wanted the whole world to see what was happening inside them. This was no longer a secret, it was a revelation. My child. They began preparing in silence. Choosing words, choosing moments, building up the courage to face what had been burning for so long. They knew this could not be rushed, but they also knew it could no longer be delayed. In their room, they practiced saying your name aloud, imagining what it would be like to hold your face in their hands. They cried as they rehearsed, realizing that their heart had been starving for this truth. Even their reflection in the mirror betrayed them. They saw themselves differently now, as though being connected to you had awakened something divine inside them. They could not recognize the person they used to be before you. And this awakening, my child, is irreversible. Nothing will ever be the same again. My child. The silence in their heart had now turned into roaring waves. Every moment without you felt like a lifetime, every second stretched like an eternity of longing. Their soul could not carry the burden of denial any longer. They began waking up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, hearing your name echoing inside their dreams. Your image was carved into their mind, so deeply that even closing their eyes could not block it out. It was as though heaven had written your face into their very soul. Their friends noticed the change and whispered again, "They are very lucky if they have you, and very foolish if they let you slip away." Those words did not just sting, they carved into their spirit like a blade of truth. Your person's heart collapsed under the weight of it. They realized they were standing at the edge of destiny, and if they didn't leap now, they would lose the chance forever. My child. They started to imagine a life with you in full detail. Waking up to your laughter, hearing your voice at the end of every day, building dreams side by side. These visions were no longer fantasies, they felt like glimpses of a future already chosen by heaven. Their chest burned with desire, their hands shook with nervousness, and their mind was consumed with only one thought, you. They tried to push it away, but the more they fought, the stronger it became. Even in the noise of the world, silence screamed your name. Even in the company of others, their soul reached only for you. The universe was rearranging itself, piece by piece, just to make sure they could not escape this truth. Their destiny was written, and now it was unfolding before their very eyes. My child. On one particular evening, their closest friend confronted them again. With piercing eyes, they said, "Stop pretending. We can see it, you are not the same. You're in love with them." That statement shattered the last layer of their denial. They tried to laugh it off, but their voice cracked, betraying the truth. Their hands fidgeted, their body stiffened, and their eyes watered. They could no longer fight against what was so clearly visible to everyone else. It was not just admiration anymore. It was obsession, passion, devotion, and destiny combined into one. Their soul was screaming to finally confess. The universe was done waiting. Even their friends had become angels in disguise, forcing the truth into light. My child. Finally, they sat down at their desk late at night. They took a deep breath, picked up their pen, and began to write once more. But this time, they did not hide the paper. This time, they knew it was meant to reach you. Their words spilled like rivers, unstoppable and raw. They wrote about how your presence haunted them, how your smile carried them through sleepless nights, how your spirit felt like home. They admitted that without you, nothing made sense anymore. Tears blurred their vision, dripping onto the page. But they kept writing, pouring every drop of their heart into that letter. It was no longer a secret, it was a confession waiting for you. When they finished, they folded it carefully, holding it close to their chest as if it were the most fragile treasure. In that moment, they knew, their next step would decide everything. My child. The letter rested in their hands like a living heartbeat. They read it again and again, each word trembling with the truth they had buried for too long. Their soul was finally free, yet fear gripped them. What if they showed it to you? The voices of their friends echoed in their head. You are very rare. You are unforgettable. If you don't act now, someone else will. Each phrase tightened around their chest like chains, pushing them toward the edge of confession. They tried to sleep, but the letter called to them from the desk. The paper felt alive, demanding to be delivered, demanding to be seen by the one it was written for, you. Their body tossed, their spirit wrestled, but the outcome was already decided. Because heaven had written this moment long ago. And nothing could stop what was coming. My child. The next day, they carried the letter with them. It burned in their pocket like fire, every step heavy with the weight of destiny. Their heart pounded so loud that even strangers on the street could feel their nervous energy. Everywhere they went, signs followed. Billboards with words that reminded them of you, songs playing with lyrics that mirrored their feelings, even strangers whispering phrases that echoed their deepest thoughts. It was as if God was orchestrating the entire day. Their friends noticed their strange behavior again. One of them asked quietly, "Are you finally going to tell them?" Your person froze, their eyes widening, but this time they did not deny it. Their silence was the answer. And in that moment, everyone around knew. The truth was finally spilling out, one heartbeat at a time. "My child." They imagined walking up to you, holding out the letter, and watching your eyes as you read the truth for the first time. Their palms sweated, their lips trembled, their knees felt weak. Yet their spirit whispered, "This is not weakness, this is divine courage." They thought about the first time they saw your picture. How something inside them had shifted instantly, how their friends' words confirmed what they already knew. They could not explain it logically, but their soul had recognized you. And now, the circle was complete. From the first glance to this moment of confession, every step had been guided by heaven. Every delay, every fear, every silence had only been preparing them for this day. They knew there was no turning back anymore. My child. As the sun began to set, their decision became unshakable. They held the letter to their chest and whispered, "This is it. This is the moment heaven has been pulling me toward." Their tears fell freely, but they did not stop. The universe seemed to pause around them. Even the wind stilled, as if nature itself wanted to witness what was about to unfold. Every second felt heavy, drenched in divine anticipation. Their friends' voices still echoed, "You are very rare. You are unforgettable," but now those words no longer felt like pressure. They felt like truth, truth that could no longer be hidden. With trembling hands and a burning heart, they began to move toward you. The moment of revelation was no longer in the future, it was here. My child. The path ahead of them felt like a sacred road carved by destiny itself. Each step toward you was heavier than the last, yet every heartbeat pushed them forward. Their soul knew, this was the crossing point between silence and truth. They clutched the letter tighter, their knuckles white with fear and passion. Their eyes scanned the horizon, searching for the moment when you would finally appear. The world around them blurred, because their focus was only on one thing, you. Heaven whispered through the wind, reminding them that everything had led to this very second. The doubts, the fears, the whispers of their friends, all of it was alignment. This was no accident, it was divine design. And now, my child, the universe held its breath. My child. As they approached the place where you often stood, their body trembled like a leaf caught in a storm. They wanted to run, yet their feet kept moving forward, guided by a force far greater than themselves. The fire inside could not be contained any longer. They saw your face from a distance, glowing with a light that only they could recognize. In that instant, the world disappeared. There were no people, no distractions, only you and them, souls colliding under heaven's watchful gaze. Their breath caught in their throat, their vision blurred with tears. The letter in their hand shook violently, as though even the paper knew its destiny was about to be fulfilled. Every ounce of silence they had carried now screamed inside them, begging to be released. My child. When your eyes finally met theirs, the earth itself seemed to shift. Time slowed, sounds faded, and only the pounding of their heart remained. They felt naked before you, stripped of every excuse, every layer of denial. Their lips parted, but no words came. Instead, their trembling hands reached forward, holding out the letter like an offering to heaven. It was not just paper, it was their soul, their truth, their confession. In that moment, their entire life flashed before them. Every night they had thought of you, every whisper of their friends, every dream filled with your presence, all of it rushed into this single second. And finally, the silence broke. My child. With a trembling voice, they whispered, "I cannot hide anymore." Their eyes overflowed with tears, their chest heaved with the weight of release. The letter fell into your hands, carrying the truth they could no longer contain. The world around you both stood still, as if heaven had silenced everything to witness this sacred exchange. Their friends' voices echoed in the background of memory, "You are very rare. You are unforgettable." But now, those were not just words. They were reality unfolding before your eyes. Your person's soul collapsed into surrender. They did not care what anyone else thought anymore. All that mattered was that you finally knew. And in that divine silence, heaven rejoiced. My child. From the very first picture they saw of you, destiny had been written. Their friends were not just observers, they were messengers of the divine truth about who you are. They could not stop praising your glow because heaven itself was speaking through them. You are the rare one. You are unforgettable. You are the blessing that cannot be replaced. And now, they finally see it too. The story that began in whispers has ended in revelation. The silence that haunted them has now become confession. And the love that once hid in shadows has stepped into the light. This is not the end, it is the beginning heaven has been waiting for.